For joining us today for the HHC Capital Corporation Semi-Annual Board Meeting. Today's meeting is officially called to order. For the record, please note Karen St. Hilaire is representing Molly Wassaw Park in a voting capacity. First on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes for the HHC Capital Corporation Semi-Annual Meeting held on February 27th, 2025. Are there any questions, comments, suggested changes? No. May I have a motion to adopt these minutes? Second?
Second.
And all those in favor?
Yes.
And the minutes are adopted. Next, I will turn the agenda over to Linda DeHart, Vice President of HHC's Finance Corporate Reimbursement Division, to provide an update.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We'd like to start these meetings by reminding everyone what the Capital Corporation is and what the purpose is. The Capital Corporation was created as part of the security structure for our systems bonds. All of our healthcare revenue is pledged to support the bonds and therefore is paid directly to the Capital Corporation, where it's held to fund debt service payments before being released to the system. So the Capital Corporation has no business. It sort of functions as a clearinghouse, basically, for our revenue payments. But we use this opportunity at the meeting to provide an update on our borrowing program. So we'll be doing that. The other thing I'll mention, just for awareness, we are seeking authority for a new bond issuance, and we'll be presenting that to the board later this afternoon. So we'll turn it over to Tom Tran for our presentation.
Okay, so starting on page 1, we typically show you this slides on our current outstanding bond portfolios. And currently, as you remember, that we currently only have 2 outstanding series of bond that's outstanding. One of them is a fixed rate, and the other one is a variable rate. Currently, for the variable rate, it's about a little bit over $103 million outstanding, represent close to 29%. And then for the fixed rate, it's about $255 million, representing 71% of our portfolio outstanding. And then for the breakout of the variable rate is supported by the letter of credit, one from TD Bank, here representing 94% of the variable rate exposure to them. And then the other LOC provider is JP Morgan. With respect to the maturity as well as the LOC expiration date, the Series B and C is matured in 2031, but the LCs expire in 2027, which we will obviously come back for renewal on that one. But the other one, it's completely a match between the variable rate bond outstanding maturity versus the LC expiration date. And then, as of note here, even though the LC is provided by TD Bank and JP Morgan, the remarketing of the bond is slightly different. A piece of that is Series B and D is remarketed by Morgan Stanley, and then Series C and E is remarketed by TD Bank. In terms of variable rate interest rate performance, just want to give you a snapshot there. FY25 in fourth quarter, the average rate there is close to 2%. The average weekly rate so far in 2025 it's 2.67. And then actually we listed here this July 23rd, the print of 285 before we print this book. But for this week, the rate has come down a little bit to 248 is the average rate. And then the estimated saving is about $75 million comparing to a fixed rate deal if we would have done this under a fixed rate deal. Turning to next page, page 2, you have seen this rate volatility many times just to show the line between the SIFMA index versus the spread to the index. Again, the SIFMA is an index that we typically use under tax exempt, where we basically reset those rates based on those index. Again, you see the notice on the right that we typically like to point out is really volatile on the right-hand side there, but is really not a function of our credit, but really a function of the market interest rate volatility, and that can be many things, and not just geopolitical reason, economic reason, but there's many in there, including the money market supply in the tax exempt market. So that's really driving that. Another data we like to look there is that the SIFMA has been really volatile over the years. SIFMA usually fluctuate very small, incremental 10 basis point or less, but we have seen so far, at least for 2025, to date, we only in 2025, we only about 30 trading sessions so far, because this thing reset on a weekly basis. Out of that 30, 17 times where we see SIFMA have fluctuated more than 50 basis point, which is a lot for SIFMA. Again, SIFMA generally float below 10. And so we're seeing at least 17 out of 30, which is more than half that's greater than that. Okay, moving on, the next one is showing you on slide 3. We're currently rated a AA3, an A+, and AA minus. As Linda is saying, that we are coming to you for the new money issuance coming up, and we are sort of expecting the same rating for our new issuance. Here on the table and bar graph here, just showing you again what's currently outstanding on the table on the right there, fixed rate and variable rate. And then more importantly, we're showing here on this slide is that over time, since the inception of this bond program that started in 1993, has really came down significantly. Over this period of time, the bond portfolio has really issued over $3 billion, and now we're just dwindling down to only $359 million. So as you can see, because of that, we have a lot of capacity, and again, we're coming to the market because of this capacity. All right, moving to the next slide, on slide 4. Again, this is speak to the 2000 bond series, which is a fixed rate that was issued in 2020. It was 2020 has a refunding as well as a new money component in here. And in this table is showing you the new money piece of it, which is was issued for $100 million, and it has drawn over time. And currently, if you look at the first table on the right-hand bottom there, the current balance is roughly $13 million. On the next slide, we're just giving you a descriptive of the funding activity of that project fund. It's the split here between infrastructure and equipment. $91 million has been spent through June of 2024. Funding for the equipment of $22 million has been completed. As of now, we still have a slightly balanced there. $11 million remain unspent, and we are expecting to draw that down further by December 2024, and then the remaining closeout period for the remaining $7 million for another 6 months. That would bring you back to June of 2026. Next slide, just more on the split on the project spending, various facilities, as well as the equipment. So this is really no significant change here from our last presentations. Slide number 7. That's just again a graphic form just showing the projections of June 2025 for the remaining balance of spending on that $11 million. And then lastly, on slide number 8, it's a little bit away from the bond program portfolio. This is an equipment loan financing that we refinance for the NYPA project, boiler projects for the Amherst as well as the Metropolitan, and the outstanding loan balance there as of June 30th is roughly $33 million. And that concludes our presentation. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for the update and on the portfolio. And as everybody knows, we will be bringing a bond resolution next. And so this has been very well managed to accommodate that. So any questions from any of the members? Sally?
The chair new debt issuance we're gonna do, since the bonds are backed by the hospital revenue, we're making a decision that these are a priority now, the uses to which these bonds are gonna be put, because we're dedicating revenue to them, right?
Absolutely. They are high priority projects. We have been, I think, talking, for a while about our assessment of our capital needs. We have identified a much larger, amount of need than what we're proceeding with now, on top of what we have in the city capital fund. These are primarily projects that will either drive revenue or are critical end-of-life replacement and maintenance projects that will eliminate downtime and in some instances reduce our repair and maintenance cost.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Tricia?
Just help give me some context, please. Out of the total outstanding bond portfolio of Paramount 59 million, you spoke about the construction fund, you spoke about the 2020 bonds. Can you just sort of tell me where the construction fund falls in the total in the 359, the two series that you have here?
Oh, it's fall under the 2020 series, which is a fixed rate deal.
Okay.
And that was originally issued for a refinancing as well as that new construction that we're showing on slide 4 of funding the project fund of $100 million out of that series, 2028.
Got it. So the 100 million is part of this initial par amount of 310.
The 310, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then I think the last one you told us about the equipment loan. That's
Yeah.
part of which bond series?
That is a little bit away from the bond program, which is the bond program is issued under the general resolutions, which is a senior debt sort of indebtedness. The equipment loan is a subordinate piece, which is a little bit away from the bond program.
Okay. I think that was it. I think that was the only other one that you bifurcated out of the total. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Sally had another question.
So we have this kind of capital assessment project that's going on as we kind of go borough by borough, figuring out what the capital needs are. In the process of doing this, did we consult with the folks that are doing this, or is this really standalone and not part of what they're doing?
But I'll let the OFD folks speak to that.
So for all the bond issuances, Sally, we work closely with facilities, both the leadership and the capital leads who manage these projects, to identify projects that would be better suited to be submitted for this issuance. So they're the ones that work with us to help determine which projects are these funds.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Tricia?
Sorry. Last thing, the bond issuances are for facilities, but also equipment and technology.
You're right.
Anything else?
Well, those are yes, those are 3 main categories. So it's infrastructure, equipment, and IT. Obviously there are a slew of subset. So if the subset, for example, it's in slide number 6, there are various subset of equipment, HVAC, heating, plumbing, all that stuff.
So that breakdown also represents the sort of business ownership of the management of those projects. So for EITS, in terms of all of our IT equipment, capital software, that's all managed by them, and that would be captured in that bucket. Our strategic sourcing team manages the medical equipment purchasing, so that those projects are represented in that bucket. There are some where they need to partner with infrastructure because some major equipment requires construction for installation and to accommodate it. So those projects, I believe, we now include in the infrastructure pool, but it will include the cost of the equipment as well.
But it seems like a small percentage of what is being funded at each institution is coming from the facility, but probably majority of the funding is coming from where else?
I'm not sure I'm following the question.
So on page 6, on slide 6, let's say Lincoln, it says 11.5% of the project there is paid by the facility, by one of the bond facilities, right?
Oh, that is,
What's the remaining like 89% funded by?
this is the distribution of this $100 million across the facility. So
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the,
All right,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions from members? No? Thank you again, Linda and Tom, for the update. Is there any old or new business from members to come before this board? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
there.